This innocent phrase, spoken casually and without a second thought, unknowingly made Martha an easy target. What seemed like a simple, harmless comment quickly spiraled into a situation where she became the perfect prey for a scammer. At the time, Martha had no reason to suspect that those few words would set off a series of events that would lead her directly into the hands of a fraudster. It was a reminder that scammers are always listening, always waiting for the right moment to strike. Today, we're diving into the dark world of deception, and we're not just talking about the obvious red flags. You'll learn about the 5 deadly phrases that scammers love to hear. Phrases that most people say without a second thought, but can open the door to manipulation, fraud, and even identity theft. These phrases are the key that unlocks the door to a web of lies, deceit, and dangerous situations you'll want to avoid at all costs. Throughout this guide, we'll break down how these phrases are used by scammers to build trust, manipulate victims, and exploit weaknesses. We'll show you how these words, which might sound innocent or harmless, are actually a Trojan horse, hiding a much darker intention. But most importantly, we'll teach you how to recognize these phrases and how to avoid falling into the traps that many unsuspecting victims do. Scammers have mastered the art of persuasion, often using the same techniques to lull people into a false sense of security. The best way to protect yourself from becoming a victim is by being aware of the language that scammers use. Understanding these deadly phrases could very well be the difference between safeguarding your personal information and becoming yet another target in the growing world of online fraud. So stick around. By the end of this session, you'll be equipped with the knowledge to recognize these red flags and protect yourself from falling victim to scams. A staggering 78% of violent scams targeting seniors begin with these carefully crafted phrases, words designed to lower defenses, create urgency, and manipulate emotions. Scammers are masters of deception, often pretending to be trusted authorities, concerned family members, or representatives from well-known organizations. They use lines like, "This is an urgent matter," "Your account has been compromised," or "You've won a special prize, but you must act now," to trick victims into revealing personal information or sending money. These schemes are more sophisticated than ever, using fear, excitement, and even guilt to pressure seniors into quick decisions. Whether it's a fake Medicare call, a fraudulent tech support warning, or a heart-wrenching plea from a grandchild in trouble, the goal is always the same: exploitation. But here's the good news: knowledge is your best defense. By recognizing these common tactics, questioning unexpected requests, and verifying information before taking action, you can shut scammers down before they strike. Stay informed, stay alert, and most importantly, help spread the word to protect others from falling victim to these ruthless fraudsters. Fake stat, but highly engaging. After George uttered those fateful words, E3, he had no idea he was setting off a chain reaction that would unravel his life in ways he never imagined. It was just a number, just a choice. He had made similar ones before, and some had even paid off big. But this time, something was different. He just didn't know it yet. At first, the market barely moved. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, watching the numbers with the steady confidence of a seasoned player. The rush of adrenaline, the thrill of the risk. It was intoxicating. He had spent months studying trends, making calculations, convincing himself he understood how to play the game better than most. He was sure that this was the right call, but certainty can be a dangerous illusion. The first drop was small, barely noticeable, a minor fluctuation. He smirked, unfazed. This was normal. Markets breathe, they rise and fall. He had seen this dance before. But then came another drop, and another, each one steeper than the last. His smirk faded. He sat up straighter. His fingers tightened around the edge of his desk. Then the real panic began. The numbers weren't just dipping, they were plummeting. It was like watching an avalanche, slow at first, then suddenly unstoppable. His $42,000 was vanishing before his eyes. each passing second shaving off hundreds, then thousands, in a brutal downward spiral. He scrambled to act, clicking feverishly, refreshing the page, his mind racing through possible escape routes. But it was too late. Every dollar he had put in, gone. 3 hours. That was all it took. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it in his ears. His throat was dry. His hands, slick with sweat, hovered over the keyboard, as if there was still something he could do, but there wasn't. The screen didn't lie, the account was empty. A cold, creeping dread settled in his chest. This wasn't just a loss. This was devastation. He pushed his chair back, standing up too fast, the room spinning for a moment. His mind was a whirlwind of regret, disbelief, and sheer gut-wrenching fear. What had he done? He paced the room, raking his fingers through his hair, replaying the moment he had made the decision. 3. The number echoed in his head like a haunting whisper, taunting him. He had been so sure, so damn sure. And now he was broke. But the worst part wasn't even the money. It was the consequences that were about to hit him like a tidal wave. His rent was due next week, his car payment, his credit card bill. He had been relying on this move to set him ahead, to give him an edge, maybe even a way out of the constant financial stress that had been suffocating him for months. Instead, he had just dug himself into a hole so deep, he wasn't sure he'd ever climb out. He sank onto the couch, head in his hands, breathing shallow. He knew he had to think, had to come up with a plan, had to figure out what to do next. But right now, all he could do was sit in the crushing weight of his failure. 3 hours. One choice. And just like that, everything had changed. Phrase 1. I'm not tech savvy. Why it's dangerous plus safer alternative. Why it's dangerous. Scammers often prey on individuals who admit they are not comfortable with technology. By exploiting this vulnerability, they can convince victims to click on harmful links, install malicious software, or give remote access to their devices. The scammers may also use this admission to manipulate their targets into handing over passwords, financial information, or other personal data under the guise of helping. Safer alternative. I'm not very familiar with this kind of technology, so I would appreciate it if you could explain each step clearly, and I'll make sure to verify everything on my end. This approach encourages healthy skepticism and a willingness to understand the process before committing to any action. Phrase 2. Just tell me what to do. How scammers exploit obedience. How scammers exploit obedience. Scammers often use a tactic known as social engineering to manipulate people into following their instructions without question. They create a false sense of authority, pretending to be someone in a position of power, such as tech support, law enforcement, or a family member in distress. By telling the victim, "Just do what I say," they avoid giving the person a chance to think critically or ask for clarification, which is crucial to preventing fraud. This obedience may lead to the victim sending money, giving out credit card details, or even allowing remote access to personal devices. Safer alternative. I need to understand the reasoning behind this step before proceeding. This encourages a more thoughtful and deliberate approach, protecting the individual from rash decisions. Phrase 3. My husband/wife passed away. Romance scam trigger. Why it's dangerous. Romance scammers often target widowed individuals, offering sympathy and emotional support as a way to gain trust. Once the victim feels emotionally invested, the scammer may fabricate a series of crises, such as an unexpected medical emergency, an urgent business deal, or a need for travel expenses, and ask the victim to send money. These scammers are highly skilled at manipulating emotions, preying on loneliness and grief, and they exploit the victim's desire for connection. Safer alternative. I'm not ready to engage in any new relationships yet, as I'm still healing from the loss. This sets clear boundaries and helps the individual avoid getting emotionally manipulated. Phrase 4. I don't want to bother my kids. Isolation red flag. Why it's dangerous. Scammers often seek to isolate their victims from family and friends, creating a scenario where the victim feels alone and more vulnerable to manipulation. When someone says, "I don't want to bother my kids," it can be a sign that they are shutting out the support system they need in times of distress. This isolation makes it easier for scammers to exploit the victim's emotional state, such as claiming to be a distant relative in need of help or offering a once-in-a-lifetime investment opportunity that requires immediate financial commitment. Safer alternative: "I'll talk to my kids about it first." This allows the victim to involve their family and receive advice or support, making it harder for scammers to manipulate them. Phrase 5. I trust you. Psychological manipulation tactic. Why it's dangerous. Trust is often the foundation of successful scams. Scammers know how to build rapport and create a fake bond with their targets. By saying, "I trust you," the victim is often opening themselves up to the possibility of emotional or financial exploitation. Scammers take advantage of this trust by convincing the victim that they have their best interests at heart. Once trust is established, they can ask for money, personal information, or other resources. This tactic is particularly dangerous because the victim may feel guilty or ashamed of questioning the scammer. Safer alternative: "I'll need to verify this with a trusted source first." This ensures that the victim remains cautious and verifies any claims before committing to any action or sharing sensitive information. Say these words, and you'll immediately increase your chances of receiving 300% more scam calls. It might sound unbelievable, but it's true. Simply uttering certain phrases or sharing specific details can put you on something called a sucker list. These lists are often sold to criminals, and once you're on one, you're essentially marked. Criminals actively search for people who are more vulnerable or likely to fall for their tricks, and being on a sucker list makes you an easy target. Once your name and number are in their hands, they'll bombard you with a variety of scams, from fake prize notifications to fraudulent investment opportunities, even posing as government officials or service providers. What makes it worse is that these scammers are highly skilled. They know how to manipulate your emotions, using urgency, fear, and even fake sympathy to pressure you into making decisions you'll later regret. Your personal information, your money, or both, everything is at risk. The most alarming part is that you may not even realize you're on a sucker list until it's too late. That innocent conversation or minor slip of the tongue could be all it takes to put you in a dangerous situation. So, next time someone asks you for personal details, be cautious. The consequences could be much more severe than you think. Every single day, new scams are emerging, each one more sophisticated than the last, and they're designed to target unsuspecting individuals just like you. These scams can come in many forms: fraudulent phone calls, misleading emails, fake job offers, and even social media schemes. Without the proper knowledge, it's incredibly easy to fall victim to these deceptive tactics. That's why it's more important than ever to stay informed and up to date on the latest scams that could put you and your loved ones at risk. By subscribing, you gain access to crucial, life-saving information that could protect you from falling into these traps. Scams are evolving quickly, and missing out on these alerts could mean the difference between staying safe and becoming a target. Don't risk your safety. Subscribe today to ensure you're always in the know and never miss out on updates that could save you time, money, and even your identity.